Okay, we have both of our gable pieces now cut. I took the first one that you saw me do, and I traced it onto the second one, and then cut it very carefully and sanded it so they were both exactly the same. Now, if you want to find out if you did your measurements right, turn your first one over and line it up and see if it's the same shape, and in our case it is. Now you can see that I've got a little bit of a gap here, and that's because my boards are flexed just a little bit. That's not going to cause us any trouble. We can straighten that out a little bit later. Okay, what our job is now is to hook these two together using the short pieces that I cut on the table saw. I took the 8-inch piece that we cut and split it down the middle. What that does is it gives us sides that are about the same height as our roof is. If they have to be a little bit shorter, that's okay. It's not a serious problem. You'll have a teeny gap right here that will not be seen. Actually allows some airflow in there anyway. You just don't want them to be taller than the corner to the bottom of your gabled sides. If they're taller, you've got to get them trimmed down. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take that side. We're going to make sure we get the side that we want to be on the outside, and I'm going to choose this side. And I'm going to put that in my vise and try to get it even in the vise. And then I'm going to clamp that in the vise. This is my outside. Okay, I'm going to be using this side as my outside for the sake of the... Actually, I'll probably use this side. What that's doing is that's taking my curvature of this outside piece and bending it out a little bit. That'll make it easier to line that up. We're going to line this up right here, and we're going to shoot some nails right in here to hold that together. And obviously we're going to glue it. The nails are only there to hold until the glue is dry. Alright, so we're going to take some of our glue, and we're going to put that glue on there. Before we do that, let me show you. This is our nail gun. The nail gun is loaded with 1 1/4" nails. Those are the nails you want. Any shorter and they won't reach. So we're going to hook that up to our air hose. You hook it up to the air hose by simply pulling back on the sleeve and sliding this on like this. That's all we need to worry about. Okay. Once that's on, we've got our air pressure at about 90. We're going to put some glue on here. Again, we don't want too much. If you get too much, it'll just run all over the place and it'll make a mess all over your birdhouse. You definitely do not want any glue running on the outside of the house. If it runs on the inside, it's not such a big deal. So I'm going to get that glue away from that outside edge. And I can wipe that extra glue on the inside here, about where I'm going to put my, see where I put a little bit of that extra glue right on there. Now, you can get somebody to help you do this if you would like. I'm going to have my nail gun at the ready. Remember to keep your fingers more than the length of the nail away from your nail gun. Okay, I'm going to put that on there. I'm going to make sure. Now I've got this edge perfectly smooth. This is the bottom. And I've got this edge perfectly flush. And I'm just going to line my nail gun so it shoots right in the middle of the thickness of that board and shoot a nail in there. Once I have that done, I'm going to move up to the top, make sure everything is lined up, and I'm going to shoot a nail in there. Now it'll hold itself. I know that I've got it lined up nice and flush, and I'm going to put a total of 5 nails in that side right there. Okay, once I have that done, I'm going to check and make sure that I don't have a whole bunch of glue running down the edge. I'm going to push that glue back onto the end grain of the wood, because we're going to cover that up with a piece of molding later on. Now I'm going to get my other side, and I'm going to put that in the vise. And this time I am going to make sure that the outside is facing this way. Okay, so this is my outside piece. Again, I set that on there. Now I'm going to bring my piece over and let the extra piece hang over on this side over here so I clear the vise. So I'm going to put my glue on here. And again, I'm going to smear that just a little bit, trying to keep it away from that outside. Again, smooth that back. You want it to cover the entire thing, you just don't want a whole bunch of extra glue there on that outside. And I'm going to put this on, line up the bottom and the outside, and shoot a nail into it. Line up the top edge, and shoot a nail into it. And then put my extra nails, making sure I'm pushing down firmly. Now remember to hold the nail gun straight up. Don't tip the nail gun from side to side or you'll shoot nails out the sides of your side. Now the last step is going to be to put the second end on. And what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to lay that birdhouse down on the desk, on the bench, and I'm going to make sure that I've got the curvature facing outside, and I'm going to put that side right on there, making sure that I get this bottom edge and these outsides nice and flush. Feel free to twist the wood, bend it, do whatever you need to do to make sure that you get it flush. You do not want it sticking out or sticking to the inside of the wood. Okay, once we've done that, we're going to use a small square, a very small square that will fit inside the birdhouse to check and make sure that we get the house square so that when it dries it remains as a square. Okay, and this is what the square that we're going to use to fit inside the house to make sure that it is square. So we're going to put some glue. Now this time you have to glue both edges, so you'll want to be careful. Glue both of those edges at the same time. Spread the glue out. And place your extra side on top. Trying to line it up as best you can. You will have to make some adjustments for width. Okay, but once that is on there, lined up bottom and side, we're going to shoot a nail right in here. Line up the top and shoot a nail. And then in the middle here, I've got a little bit of a bulge, so I'm going to have to push my thing in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and glue the nail the other side first, so I can turn it down on a bench and shoot that last thing in there. Again, make sure you've got your fingers clear the length of the nail. Now I can push this down and I can squeeze, flex out of there, and shoot my other nails. And the same thing on this side. Okay, now I have my box, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to put this square on the inside to make sure that I don't have any gaps. It looks like it's seated nice and square. If it wasn't square, I just squeeze it until it goes square, and if I have to, put some tape across the bottom, whichever direction it needed to be pulled in a little tighter. Try to keep glue off of the surfaces, and once this is dry, you're ready to put your roof on.